Welcome to Mind Your Wedding Business Podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Dennis. In addition to leading the charge at Wedding IQ, I also run Fantasy Sound Event Services, a lighting and entertainment company based in Livermore, California, that I founded over 35 years ago. Each week on this podcast, you'll hear thought-provoking and empowering interviews with wedding professionals who have found success in the industry. If you're a business-minded wedding pro who loves love, but also cares about their bottom line, buckle up and get ready to learn from a new industry expert each week. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Mind Your Wedding Business. I'm with the amazing one and only Canva expert, Brenda Cadman. How are you doing, Brenda?
Wonderful, Kevin. We were just saying how long it's been since we've seen each other.
I know, it really has. So it's
been
really
a long
nice.
time.
It has. And I'm excited that we get to kind of see each other again in Wedding MBA. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am a Canva verified expert. I have been a Canva educator since 2019, but before that, I ran a website development company, and I retired that business in 2022. But I ran it for a little over 20 years.
Wow!
So that is, I think, how you and I originally came to know each other. Was I was focused on websites and website marketing for the wedding industry, and then it was just time to let it go. It was probably overdue to let that go. I think sometimes, you've just lost the spark for it. And sometimes you can find that spark again. And other times it's just, you're ready to move on to something else. So I focus all of my time now helping small business owners to use Canva more effectively and efficiently in their business.
So what made you want to make that switch? Just out of curiosity.
So many reasons. Some of the biggest ones being that with websites, there's always this unknown. You wake up every morning and you wonder whose hosting went down today, or what fires am I going to have to fight today that I wasn't expecting? And there was always this not anticipation when the anticipation turned to anxiety in the mornings about checking my inbox, and it wasn't going away. And I knew that I was always going to be really reliant on developers to step in and fix things. I just was always waiting for the other shoe to drop about what was going to go wrong. And I didn't want to live that way anymore. I wanted to focus on something that really lit me up. And I had discovered Canva, teaching Canva specifically at that point. So it was just time to pull the trigger and switch over. And I have not regretted it for 1 minute.
No, good for you. I can tell you from personal experience, when our website goes down, it's like the oh shit button and everybody's freaking out, and we're lighting the world on fire trying to get that thing back up again.
Exactly. And I'm a fairly empathetic person. So I literally do feel even if the client is pretty chill about it. I used to find I was incredibly anxious until it was back up and running and fixed. And that was exacerbated when I had one of my biggest clients. It was she had online retail, and literally every hour it was down, she was losing a lot of money. So I was taking that on as well, even though I never caused the problem. But the responsibility was there for us to fix it. And it was not doing wonders for my mental health.
No, I don't blame you.
So playing in Canva is much better for that.
That's a lot of stress. All right. So Canva. So let's just, how can some people be using this for their wedding business today?
How can you not be? There's so many components of it. I would say any kind of touch point with a prospective couple or a current couple, you can, or even a past couple, you can certainly be using it. You can infuse it throughout your marketing in a much broader way than I think a lot of people are. Often will think of it to create social media graphics, and that's about as far as it goes. But you could be creating onboarding guides. You could be creating presentations for your couples that live on Canva. And if you need to make changes, you can make changes live. So there's no more worrying about which version of the PDF do they have. Essentially, if there's a touch point with that client, there's an opportunity to make it more beautiful or to find something, creative that you can do to really elevate that experience. I think that, that at one point it would have been just cost prohibitive to have to rely on a graphic designer to create these kinds of things for you. And now it is literally at your fingertips. It's incredibly affordable to do it. And I think it's a lost opportunity if you're not finding all those different touch points that you can incorporate it into.
So how are some of your clients like successfully using Canva?
So I will say, as far as clients, I don't actually work one-on-one with clients anymore. It's mostly focused on the education side of it.
All right.
But I have seen, certainly the social media graphics piece of it is a really big one. And I mean, whether you're creating pins on Pinterest or you're creating your Instagram content, your reels, you're creating maybe feature images for blog posts. I know blogging is not dead. It is far from dead. And, there's an opportunity to create the graphics that are going with that. You can be doing that. I have certainly seen, though, custom proposals being done on Canva.
Oh, wow.
And now there's with Canva Docs, you could create it's kind of a competitor for Google Docs to some degree now, where you can have it scrolling and it's not restricted to a single page. On the business kind of development side of it, I see a lot of people using Canva for presentations. I certainly use it for every presentation, every webinar that I give, because I can put it into presenter view and I can see my notes and they can't see it. And it's certainly come a really long way. I think just getting in and exploring that visual work suite that's at the top of your Canva account it's worth a play to see kind of the scope of what's available. I don't think most people have even scratched the surface of what Canva's capable to do.
I was just going to say, when you were saying, I didn't even know you can do a presentation in Canva. So so it's like, exactly. So I guess with that said, since I'm green and I don't know any, like a lot of what it does, but what are some of like the things that most people don't use Canva for, that, or don't even realize that's available on Canva? What do you think?
Oh boy. Well, presentation certainly is a big one. I think just looking at all the kind of PDF sorts of designs that maybe you could have created in the past, that maybe you needed something more robust to do that, an Adobe InDesign or something like that. A lot of wedding professionals are going to be list building as well. They do. I mean, maybe it's not as big a thing in the industry. I've been out of this industry for quite a while in terms of the website marketing side of it, but I know you're all still creating lead magnets and things like that to grow your audience. And certainly this is a tool that can enable you to do that. But even if all you're doing is creating your social graphics, going in and setting up a brand kit and making sure that everything you're creating looks really consistently on brand is going to give you a large step above a lot of what's already out there. I still see a lot of very cluttered looking Instagram accounts where there's not an overarching look and feel to the content that's being put out. And I mean, certainly if you have a really photo driven Instagram account, you probably have a look and feel to your photos. But if you're creating content that's, promoting different things that is not just photograph based, you still want to have a consistent brand that shows up across that, so that when people see your content, they're able to instantly identify it as belonging to your brand. And Canva does have tools to enable you to do that very, very easily, as long as you go and set them up. So I would say most small business owners who are relatively, maybe in your position, I don't know how new you are to using Canva. I know you've been using it for a long time, but maybe you don't use it to the extent that some of us do. But there are a lot of folks who haven't even set up, they don't know that the brand kit is something that can even be set up, or they know it's there, but they just haven't gotten around to plugging their logos and their brand colors and their fonts and all that into it. So some of those fundamental basics are going to give you the most bang for your buck. Just being able to take a template, easily customize it to fit your brand, that right there is going to save you a tremendous amount of time. So.
Yeah. Well, and some of this is time, like I really feel a lot of these apps that help you with your business, if you learn to use them properly, it's, you're saving yourself a lot of time. So All right. I'm
100%.
I'm green, and not me personally. Well, I am a little green because the girls in my office use Canva. I do not. They always go, "Oh, look at this great thing I created." I'm like, "Ah, that looks amazing," and they use it in Canva. But if I don't know where to even get started, what should I do? How do I get started with Canva?
I think going into it with the right mindset, first of all, is important. You don't need to learn how to use every single part of it. You will not be able to, because as soon as you feel like you've got a mastery of all the components, it'll change. Like we've seen constantly. Just at the most recent Canva Create in May, they formally launched this new glow up interface, which again has changed it and moved things around and added some new features into it. And you're not going to be able to learn everything. So understanding what some of the basics are and then building on top of that is the mindset to go into it. Because sometimes folks want to know, what are all the things I should be using? You'll get there, baby steps. But getting in, setting up that brand kit, first of all, is going to be really fundamental to making sure everything that comes out of Canva is looking kind of polished and professional and not amateur. But if you combine that brand kit with carefully chosen templates, and Canva's template library is just miles beyond what it was even a handful of years ago.
Oh,
because of their creators program, they have graphic designers that contribute templates that go through a process of approval, and that library, it's millions of templates to choose from, which can be a little overwhelming, but there's filters. I mean, you're going to want to filter that down, because otherwise there is such a thing as too much choice. But you can use filters to just narrow down by kind of style and look and feel. But once you've got a little suite of designs that work well together graphically, and then you update them using that brand kit that you set up, that's kind of where I would start, is figuring out what your templates are, getting your brand kit set up, customize them so that you have something to go to start with, so you're not starting from scratch every single time. And don't go into Canva thinking you need to design from scratch. That's really not going to be the best use of your time, unless that's an area that you excel at and that you really love to do. But even if you really love to do it, it's a rabbit hole. You can spend so much time in there, and there's so many other more important things to be doing in your business that are actually going to move the needle in your business. And searching for the perfect template is not on that list. So getting a suite of customized templates that you can work with is going to be really important. And then my big thing is doing this in a really organized way. So set up custom folders inside of the projects area of Canva right from the get-go to start providing some sort of homes for the content that you're creating, whether that's the designs that you're creating or the images and videos that you're potentially uploading into Canva. Because if you don't, it's going to feel manageable at first, and then it's going to become completely overwhelming and very, very cumbersome to find what you're looking for. And that'll happen really quickly if you're creating a lot of content. I would hazard a guess that the ladies in your office are probably already dealing with a bit of a bottomless pit of designs and images right now, especially if there's a Teams account happening. But it is something that's really beneficial from the outset to set up. But even if you've been using Canva for a long time, going back and setting up that folder system, an organization system, getting everything put away into its homes is really going to be worth the time.
Like anything in life, got to get organized. Yep. So,
yeah, you do.
All right. So I'm brand new. How long should I expect to be, time wise? Is it going to take me a couple months to get in there and get organized and get going? Is it a couple weeks, or can you do it by hours?
There's no one size fits all kind of answer
really?
here.
Okay.
I mean,
all right.
As far as, it depends what aspect we're looking at. If we're looking at the organization piece specifically, depending how much content you have, that might be something you organize in 20 minutes versus something that is a multi-week process. I mean, when I do organization VIP days, I have been in accounts where I start with the images. I start with that uploads folder. And there's upwards of 2,000 images in there to be sorted through. So that's much of the first day, is just going through and figuring out, okay, how many times has this wedding been uploaded in here? And how do we organize this? So it's really all over the map. If we're talking about how long to feel comfortable navigating it, again, some people are really comfortable taking on new software. Some people really find design intuitive, and others it's more of an uphill battle, and they get in there and then realize, you know what, I'd rather just pay somebody else to do this. So there is no one size fits all kind of answer, but I am a big believer that, a little bit is better than nothing. So just baby steps and the progress will come. And then suddenly you realize that, that learning curve felt long, but you're looking back and you realize just how far you've come.
Well,
it's like anything.
Yeah, it's true. When you were saying that, I was like, well, it's just like anything. You just got to block out time, sit there and
do the thing.
And get through it. And before you know it, you're going to have a successful tool on your hand that you're going to be using for your business to help you stand out and look better than everyone else. So that's why I think part of this is that the people that you could tell, like on social media, you could tell just in general, the people that are using this successfully, because they just look so much better than everyone else. They really do.
Well, and it may not be all that complicated behind the scenes if they've got like a set of templates that they know look good.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to have 3 million different Instagram post designs. You could need a few layouts that maybe have the colors switched around and the patterns changed a little bit, or little tweaks to them, but they all still feel like they work together as a family, a visual family. And then, you can cycle through them, and by changing the text and the photos in them, suddenly they look quite different. But I think nailing that part, everything becomes a lot easier after that. And I don't want to see anybody spending hours a week creating visual content. You should be doing the thing that you love to do, and that your clients are hiring you to do. And yes, creating a beautiful customer journey for them at every touch point is going to help that be a more seamless and smooth experience. But at the same time, that's not the part that they're hiring you for. So
yeah, I think that's fair. All right, I want to work with you and want to become your student. Talk me through what kind of classes and what kind of things can I do with you?
Well, I will say that by the time this comes out, that will be a different answer.
Oh no!
I haven't. There's an email going out to my list tomorrow, so this will be public by then. I currently have 3 courses. I'm retiring 2 of them.
Oh no!
Yeah, I have decided that the thing that I am most passionate about, the thing that I do best, and there is no other Canva verified expert in the world that does, is specifically focus on the organization piece of it and helping business owners get organized in Canva. This is a thing I would do all day long, even if I wasn't paid to do it. And it's the thing that makes me distinct. And there's a lot of great, Canva tutorials and resources and courses and teachers and experts out there who can focus on the design piece of it and how to use the features and how to create amazing looking designs. And I've had a Canva for beginners course and a Canva for business course.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm realizing I'm one person. And the reason I closed the website development company was to simplify and to focus on the things that really light me up and that I feel most mastery at. It's time to do that again and to let go of something so I can narrow my focus. So in terms of how they work, I have tons of free tutorials and resources and all kinds of stuff on my website that anybody's welcome to access for free and not even have to, don't have to get on a list to get that. But if you want to work with me for organization, I have a course that I teach that through, and I have services that I kind of
awesome
take it off and actually do it for you.
Well, that's exciting that I get the insider tip the day before.
Yes, you get the inside tip.
But by the time this comes out,
there's no point promoting a couple of courses that as of tomorrow are going to be on their way out. So September 30th will be the last day that those are available to get.
Oh, that's
otherwise,
awesome.
It's all organization. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I didn't even and now that you say that, I didn't even think that's amazing that is what you're focused on, because I would think of it as of the design factor of it of all. So,
and I mean, I still love teaching that part of it, and I'll always be sharing tutorials to my subscribers about, here's how you create presentations. Here's how you have you run into this problem? Here's how to deal with it, and things like that, because I think there's value in that. But as far as what I want to be known for, I don't want to be known for Canva. I want to be known for Canva organization.
There you go. I love it. Yeah. I love it. All right. So before I was going to ask you for some tips, but before we get there, something that I just thought of that's just curious. How do you become a verified expert of Canva?
It's a good question.
Yeah.
It's a good question. And there's not a program to do it. It's an invite only program.
Oh.
There are currently 55 of us, I believe, worldwide. I was in one of the first 25 when the program launched. And it really, we're selected basically by Canva's community managers based on the kind of content and education that we're putting out. Some are really big on tips in terms of, they're known on Instagram. They do a lot of reels, or they do a lot of Instagram content. They have a huge social following, and that's where they educate. Others, YouTube is their platform for educating, and they have 500,000 subscribers on there. For me, I have chosen courses and emails and podcasts and guest trainings and more of a relationship driven kind of marketing strategy. But all of us teach about how to use Canva in some way. And I guess got onto the radar of the right people at Canva. So I wish there was a way that I could say, here's the steps to follow to apply for this. But really, it's make good quality content consistently. And chances are at some point they're watching.
Oh, so. I don't know. Just like our iPhones, they're watching, they're listening to everything we do.
Well, it wasn't supposed to be creepy.
I know. I turned it creepy. Sorry. But I don't know. At one point, you got to give up the fact. I feel like some people with technology, that's the one thing they are afraid of. And I'm like, you can listen to me and do whatever, as long as it's going to speed up my time and make my life easier. I got nothing to hide. I'm not doing anything bad.
You're not going to learn a whole lot of real exciting stuff.
That's what I said too. Yeah.
Phone.
Yeah, exactly.
Yelling at the cat potentially. But
me yelling at my daughters to clean their damn rooms, because that's all I feel like I do with my 10 and 12-year-old right now. So anyway. All right. So your tips. What are some tips for people to get started with Canva?
Tips to get started. Well, first off, if you don't have an account, get one. I would say if you're on a free plan, I do think it's worth testing out the features on Pro, because that brand kit I talked about, that is a Pro specific feature. And I think it is incredibly, even if you didn't have access to all the other kind of really cool stuff that they're starting to roll out, I think that brand kit alone is worth the upgrade. But I can send you a link to try it out for 30 days first to see if it's even worth doing it. I think people will find the value, but I'm a big believer in trying it, making sure that the value is there for you before you spend a dime on it. And to help maximize that time, because I know 30 days can go really fast, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, okay, now they want me to pay for it. And I don't even know if this is going to be useful to me or not. So I do have a free little course that folks can go through that highlights exactly what's different, what's comes on the Pro that doesn't, can walk you through it, just so you can hopefully speed up that learning process. But I think testing that out is one of the first things I would recommend, because the reality is that Canva's free plan is probably one of the most robust free subscriptions that I've seen as far as software goes in terms of what it allows you to do. A lot of the time, you're limited on different things. You're maybe limited in how many you can download with designs without watermarking on it, or you have to have some sort of promotional thing that'll appear on it automatically. You can create a lot of great looking content in Canva and never pay them a single penny, but you are going to have a lot more flexibility if you're on that Pro plan. So and you're going to be able to really get things looking exactly the way that you want them to. So you feel happy with them. So the process is easier and faster for you so that you can take that time. Time is money, and put it into developing the other parts of your business that's more important. So get an account if you don't have one. Try out the pro account and then set up that brand kit. Find your templates, set up your custom folders, and don't overcomplicate it, because yes, you can add animations, but you don't have to. Yes, you have like millions of images to choose from that you could play with. But you just, I mean, honestly, if you have your own set of brand photos and you don't even need stock imagery from Canva, don't worry about utilizing it just because it's there. Keep it simple. And then, just start there and then build on top of it. I think that everybody wants to figure out, well, I know they can do video, so how do I create video in it? Well, does it make sense? I think sometimes slowing down and asking, is this the right tool for the job? Am I more comfortable with something else that's probably going to do a better job? Just because it can do something does not mean you have to use that tool to make it worth your time.
That's a fair thing. I think the biggest thing I took from there is time is money, so you got to pay for it. I think with a lot of this technology, everyone tries to find the great thing that works, that is free, and unfortunately, $14. Well, how much is Canva? I don't even know.
It depends which currency you're in. It depends where you are. It also depends if you're on a Teams account versus an individual pro account. I pay everything in Canadian dollars, so I'm not sure what it is in US dollars. I think it might be, I want to say $120 a year in the US.
Yeah.
Don't hold me to that. It's one of the least expensive subscriptions that a lot of business owners have. But all that said, if you've created your suite of templates and if you don't feel like you need the pro features, downgrade. Like if you've already set up your brand kit, it'll be waiting for you if you ever upgrade again in the future. You won't have to recreate it. So try it out, downgrade. I'm definitely not here to say you have to pay for it, but I think it's worth understanding the capabilities.
But with that, but with that point, so let's go 120. That's $10 a month. You couldn't pay a graphic designer $120 to design one piece of content for you, for one little thing that you do. So the fact that it's going to save you time, it's going to make you look better. You're going to create some consistency with your marketing. It's really a no-brainer to start getting in there and using the tools that's available to you. And it goes across all platforms. Like, it works well on the iPad, doesn't it? I mean, from what I understood.
You can, if you're using iPad, you can access the browser version there as well. Yeah. They do have a mobile app version. I'm not a huge fan I don't design any content on my phone or my iPad, simply because I'm much more comfortable in a desktop environment, and I feel like I can do a better job. But to each their own. The great thing is that if I wanted to quickly access an image on the go, I can log into the app and grab that image that I created earlier and quickly download it to my phone and post it from there. So it is available across devices, which is great. It makes it easy if you are needing to access it from, on site somewhere.
I think, Brenda, you and I are a lot alike. If I could put my laptop on my, like how people used to wear their phone on their belt, I would be that person with my laptop. But with that said, I do love all my iPad and all my other stuff. But
I just want everything to work together nicely, seamlessly. Yeah. Sometimes they do.
One thing Apple needs to fix. So anyway, we'll get there eventually. All right. Any other tips or tricks that we missed?
I mean, there's so many. We literally, it's a matter of, and it's tricky with Canva because it is a visual medium, and it's like, okay, well, what can we talk about that will help people save time? There's lots of design tips and tricks and things about, everything from if a photo's getting cut off when you pull it into a frame, how do you get around that, to, just all these little design tricks. But those are the kinds of things that need to be shown visibly so that people can walk through and mimic and, doing their own accounts. And that's where tutorials are great. But I do think there's a conversation to be had just more about how we're approaching these tools and what are the ways that we can use them more efficiently. It's very, very easy to listen. This is one of the reasons I love teaching about Canva. It creates beautiful things and it's fun. It is fun to look through all these templates and icons and illustrations and to spend hours doing it. But then you're not getting the less enjoyable but more important things done. So as much as there's tips and tricks, you're never going to learn them all. Little bits at a time. My best recommendation would be get in there, start playing, and if you run into a hurdle or you wonder if there's a better way to do something, hop on YouTube and search for it. Because if there isn't a tutorial video about how to do that thing, you come let me know and I will create one. Because I think that most of those kinds of questions you'll find answers for. Look for the answers when you need them, but don't let that hold you up from getting in there and actually starting to engage with the tool itself.
It's funny you say that because I drive my son nuts because he'll come to me. He's like, I can't figure out something and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, well, did you look on YouTube? Like literally you could figure out how to do it. You could repair your car if you feel like you could take it on YouTube. Someone will show you how to do it. There's someone that'll show you how to, multiple people will show you how to do something on YouTube. It's insane.
And how to fix that very specific faucet that's leaking, like not even the same brand, but that specific model, step by step, how to do it. And if there isn't an answer, it's coming. People are watching to see what you're searching on. So I agree. YouTube and again, back to why one of the reasons I'm retiring those courses, I don't want to compete. I don't want to compete with YouTube on some of the fundamental tips and processes in Canva that I think a platform like that is better suited to, because if and when there are new features or new ways to do things, it's just far easier to record something new and get it out that way. So,
well, and I love that you're focusing on the organization side, because I'm pretty sure most people's Canva is a shit show on the inside and it's a mess. And, and
95% of them. Yes.
Yeah. So I think it's amazing that you're doing that. So, all right. So, so any other Canva stuff before we wrap it up?
I think
we covered it.
There's always more to be learned, but just take the pressure off yourself is one of the biggest things I'd say.
I think it's like anything. It's like if you go to we were talking about Wedding MBA, you go to a conference, you learn 15 new tricks and you come back and you're overwhelmed and you end up doing none of them because you get overwhelmed, but just take things off in little bite size. Today I'm going to work on one thing.
Absolutely.
In a month from now, I'll work on the second thing, and if you take every little thing in little bite-sized chunks, I think that's when people are more successful, because our everyday life gets in the way, everyday business, everyday family life gets in the way. And if you just do it in little chunks, I think it goes a long way. So, all right.
I agree.
All right. I know I'm putting you on the spot, but I ask every guest what's their favorite part of a wedding. And you said you haven't been to a wedding since your wedding.
Yeah.
Which I think is amazing.
17 years. 17 years. And so,
well, you can think of a wedding.
My gosh.
Like there's a lot of movie wedding, TV wedding. I mean, there's all kinds of weddings. So,
I mean, I'm about the food. If I'm honest, I enjoy a nice meal and a nice glass of wine in an environment where people are celebratory. I mean, great music.
I don't think you're wrong on the food, and that's where so people overlook the food, and I think you're right.
That's the way. Honestly, that is the way to my heart. I will. I'm not somebody who eats to live. I very much live to eat. So I'm really definitely all about the food. I mean, there's so much of it though. I don't, the whole experience, I haven't had the opportunity to go to a lot of weddings, which is interesting given the industry that I've, done a lot of support with, but certainly regardless of the kind of wedding that I have been to consistently, I always remember the food.
It's funny. There's a couple of my in-laws' friends that still mention the food at our wedding, and we did back in we got married 16 years ago. So we did late night snacks before late night snacks were a cool thing. And because we got married on New Year's Eve, and so we wanted drunk food for people because we were going past midnight. You know, we wanted to do the countdown or whatever. So we did pizza and popcorn, and people still this day goes, and then pizza came out, and then there was popcorn by the bar. I mean, they just think, but it's funny how it's so memorable. People hold on to that. So
we had an outdoor reception, and it was basically barbecue with every side that you could, every kind of salad you can imagine.
Sounds delicious.
Anytime I've gone to Wedding MBA, I need to get a really nice buffet in, and you know, some people look for crab legs and meat and all that. And I'm like, point me to the salads because I want to try every single one of them. And that's what I wanted at my wedding, was like every permutation of pasta salad that you could have. So
ain't nothing wrong with that. No.
Yeah.
And good luck at finding a buffet because they're a dying breed there when you go to Vegas, from what I hear.
Oh dear. Lots changed since I've been there, I guess. Well, I will make that my mission.
You know what's funny? It's been 6 years for you. Vegas is going to look so weird to you.
Is it?
Well, yeah, because I don't think Resort World was around when you were there, or Fountain Blue, all that down by the convention center. Yeah.
No, I don't. None of that means anything to me. So.
Yep. The Tesla
Is
tunnel.
Wicked Spoon still there? Because that's where I had been a few times. At Wicked Spoon at Cosmopolitan.
I've heard. Oh, it might be there, but I'm not 100% sure. I haven't been to Cosmo the last few times I've been there. I like that. That's a good property. I don't know why I haven't been there more often. Yeah. All right.
Check it out.
We digress. We get way off topic, and we're going to reel it back in.
All right. On to food, Kevin.
I know. Well, you took me. You said that was your favorite part of the wedding.
Fair enough.
So, all right. How does somebody get in touch with you? And we'll be sure to put you in our show notes.
Best thing is to just go to my website, brendacadman.com. One of the links you'll see is for the everything page, which will list every offer that is currently available, from free to one-on-one services. And that suite of offerings will have changed between now and probably when anybody sees it. But that's the best place to find me.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you for being a guest. Thank you for teaching us a little bit more about Canva. I guess we encourage everyone to get over there and look at our Canva to see how disorganized we are, and then realize, oh, we need Brenda's help. We need to get her over here to help us fix our mess. And then we'll
folders are your friend. That's all I'll say.
Yeah. And it's funny. People. Yeah. I'm the type of person that throws everything on the desktop of my computer, and then that's what I do. So I need to follow your advice. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
And until next time, folks, we'll see you soon. To our listeners, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Mind Your Wedding Business Podcast, brought to you by Wedding IQ. I hope you've enjoyed listening to this episode. Please get in touch with me if you have a topic you would like for me to cover, or if you are in the area of your business you're struggling with, let us know. We'll be happy to help. I encourage you to check out our other episodes on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you're a fan, we'd love to hear from you, and we'd love for you to subscribe to our podcast and leave a review. It helps others find our podcast so they can learn from our guests too. Thanks again for listening.